How many times a day do you look for something or someone to blame for the circumstances of your situation? Quick scroll through social media, a glance at the news, or even a casual conversation can reveal how deeply the blame game is ingrained into our culture. From an innocent child trying to escape consequences to politicians playing pass the buck, we are surrounded by examples of this. We try to teach children not to behave in this way and how it's better to tell the truth and take responsibility. But have we lost touch with this lesson ourselves? The habit of passing responsibility isn't as harmless as we might want to believe. It's a path to disempowerment and a victim mentality that blocks us from creating the life that we truly want. Dr. Joe Dispenza tweeted saying, "When it comes down to it, there are two ways to live our lives, either as the victims to our lives or the creators of our lives." Another quote from him says that if your personal reality is creating your personality, then you are the victim. But if your personality is creating your personal reality, then you are a creator. When we pass the buck, when we look outside of ourselves to point fingers at all the things around us that are responsible for our lack, whether it's a lack of happiness, health, success, love, joy, adventure, whatever, we give away our power to change those things. The victim mindset acts like an invisible cage, trapping us in a cycle of blame, frustration, and stagnation. We're trapped in a self-imposed prison because we let our avoidance of taking responsibility, which comes from fear, be the dictator of our reality. Mind is the master power that molds and makes, and man is mind, and evermore he takes the tool of thought and shaping what he wills brings forth 1,000 joys, 1,000 ills. He thinks in secret, and it comes to pass. Environment is but his looking glass. James Allen wrote that over 100 years ago. Today's lesson goes beyond the Newtonian way of perceiving cause and effect. It's a metaphysical lesson. The Newtonian perspective of reality is how one object or force acts upon another object or force and creates change. This relates to what we've been talking about in previous lessons, how our choices and our actions affect the outcome of our lives in a very direct way. Now we're starting to get into something that runs much deeper than the superficial level of cause and effect. Less than 5% of our universe is made up of atoms, of solid matter that we can see and we can touch. Your thoughts, emotions, and intentions, your self-image, identity, paradigms and belief all affect your body at a metaphysical level and can and do shape your reality in ways far beyond what most of us were taught in school. We're going to go into how this works a lot more in later lessons, but in short, your inner world creates your outer world, and taking responsibility is one of the first steps in claiming power over your life. When you can start to look at how you're playing your part in the circumstances in your life, even if it doesn't seem like there's any obvious link at first, you can start to create more consciously. Ask yourself, like we covered in the lesson on patterns, am I continually finding myself in the same scenarios, circumstances, or situations, even when I don't want to? It may have something to do with this inner side of you manifesting outcomes in your life that you haven't consciously chosen to create. Until you can take responsibility for the outcomes in your life, you'll forever be a victim of circumstance, blown about by the winds of fate, and you will never be able to create your own path. Taking responsibility isn't just about what you do, it's about who you are, and about realizing that everything in your external environment is an expression or an extension of who you are. Each time you resist the urge to blame, you expand your inner power. You break free from the self-imposed prison of victimhood and step onto the path of conscious creation.